Congratulations on putting out your album.
Thank you. We're going to do something different today.
We're going to do something a little different today. Today, we're going to be going through and just talking a little bit about what your creative process was, questions I probably have for you, my favorite song in your album. Album itself is called Reverie, correct? A word that's been tossed around in your life for a real long time, I feel.
Yeah. Well, because I tossed it around.
Yeah. No, but I mean, like, since we've known each other, like as if I haven't lived with you my whole life. But for real, I remember I've obviously never heard the word reverie before, but when you introduced the word to us, it just started becoming like a known thing. And like, I personally would associate the word reverie to you often. Anytime I would see it, I'd be like, oh, Juan, right? So, in ode to that, I'd actually like to know and start asking you a couple questions about your album. Hold
on. First off, we're gonna talk about the music because I put out an album, and most people don't know that I do a lot of music, or I tinker around with music, but I get like really obsessed with it. But I gotta be a straight up forward. We record just on a weekly basis for the pod for the Degenerates, and that doesn't make me nervous at all. I'm just like, we're gonna talk about this and we're just gonna go for it or whatever, blah 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 blah. But I'm nervous right now.
This is making you nervous. What do we want to call this again?
Words that keep me company.
Words that keep me company.
Which is gonna be it's gonna be a phrase that we hear a lot.
Yes.
But this segment it's not gonna go on the pod. Obviously, it's gonna go somewhere else.
This
but
is
like,
separate.
Yeah. But like words that keep me company, and I think it's appropriate because these words have kept me company for a long time. I used to call these songs my best friends for a long time. So they just through it probably means a lot more whenever I'm talking to you because you're gonna be able to place me in certain times in my life. If I tell you like, oh, I wrote this song at this year, to you it's just like, oh, that's just the year. This group of songs I've had, well, one, I wrote them so long ago, and then two, I've recorded them now so long ago, and I had this like marketing process that I wanted to do and like a series of videos and all this stuff and all these ideas. But the hard part about putting out music in general is that you want as many people to hear it, and then you want to do this, you want to blah, 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 blah. I was playing some shows every now and then, but I think, and we'll talk about the songs in depth in a little bit, but the hardest part I think about being an artist is not so much in a lot of ways doing the art. It can be, but that's like the fun part.
Yeah.
I think the hard part is how do you structure your life to where you could do the most art possible without sacrificing the other things in your life that you're trying to get done. So for me, it was more so, how do I make sure that I keep chugging along in trying to build a life, get a house, get out of a certain place, while also
sets of comforts.
Without letting go of the creating and doing stuff, and I have to buy instruments, and I have to invest a lot of time, and then invest more money, and then recording is not cheap. So then it just becomes this kind of the thing going over and over and over again. And now it was 2018, I think, end of 2018, whenever, or maybe 2019. I don't know. I don't remember. That this person's a little bit shaky, but there was a series of kind of like intrusive thoughts that I would have whenever I'm so close to finishing this album.
Yeah.
I'm so close to having it materialize. I'm proud of the concept. I'm proud of the ideas. I'm proud of the music. I'm proud of the words. I'm proud of everything. How do I let as many people hear them as possible? Okay, so now I need a social media presence. In a lot of ways, this is the best time to be a musician or an artist in general because social media really does let you talk to a lot of people all at the same time, but you need to keep up with it. As we know from the pod, we
you
need to keep up with it. It needs to be a constant thing. There needs to be engagement. There needs to be doing this and this and that. So
you have to keep your foot on the gas.
yeah, you have to kind of keep it up, and it gets hard. I could go play a show, and maybe people will like the show, whoever's there, a couple, 10, 15, 20, 50 people, whatever.
Yeah.
But then how do I like keep that alive? Do I post it? Do these songs get stale for people? And in a lot of ways, it's just me inside my head. A lot of people have never heard these songs before. And even if I like re-release it a year from now, if I get more traction with more popularity or something, a lot of people still haven't heard them.
Yeah.
So, but that's the struggle. I didn't want to use up all my money.
Yeah.
I also didn't want to like not get to a point where I could be more financially stable. I also didn't want to like be a starving artist and not and like, you know what I mean, like lose jobs over trying to make this happen, right? Stuff like that. So it's just a lot of compromise, and that's the hardest part, right? If you do manage to get to a point where you're popular enough and you're making enough money, then it gets really easy to just dedicate a year.
Yeah.
And say, I'm going to make an album. I'm going to make some art. And then as soon as it's done, I'm going to put it out into the world. Enough people know me already that people are going to play it. And then if it's good enough, I can put it on tour. And then, that gets it. But the groundwork is the hardest part.
Yeah.
So that was like 2018, 2019. COVID hit.
Yeah.
Everything kind of goes into shambles. I end up investing my money in other places. I buy a house, I do all these things, blah, blah, blah. The idea for the podcast comes in. So then I invest some time and some money into that, which was a good idea because we've all started getting involved and everything, Yeah. So nothing is ever linear.
Yeah.
But to that point, I work on art all the time. Mm-hmm. And this is the first full-length project that is taking me. I started writing some of these songs in high school, so that's like 15 years ago, and then I finished the album in 2018. So like 8 years later is when I finished the album. I graduated 2010.
Yeah.
And then I released it 2023, December 2023. Some of the songs have been out for a while. I did some live performances on YouTube that you can find. Go check them out. But I've kind of just been sitting on this project for a while because I wanted to figure out the right timing, the right like marketing strategy or this and that, blah blah blah, and then I wanted the right visuals for like some songs.
There was a lot of stuff that we talked about that you had mentioned wanting to do a lot of things. Do you feel because before we get into the conceptualized, like the actual, like the meat of the album, which is like the actual words that keep us company, do you feel like everything that you did to prepare for this album release is it's like the way you would have wanted it to go, or do you feel like you were just kind of
like as an artist, I think that there's a romanticization that happens whenever you're thinking about your art. So in my perfect world, I would have put out a single. I would have put out some music. Some people would have liked it. It would have gotten some traction. People would have said, "Hey, do you have more?" I would have slowly given more and more and more. I would have put out a record. I would have gone and played some music, and I would have gone, and every show for a year it would have been a show with brand new eyes and brand new audiences, and I would be able to put it in, and but that's just not how life works. Like work gets in the way. I'm just still trying to survive, trying to save up some money, life, the curse that I have is that I'm force myself to be involved in a lot of different things at the same time. I don't like being stagnant. I've never had like a corporate job, but I've done really well for myself. Yeah. So on an artistic level, I feel, oh man, I could be further along as a songwriter or as a maybe producer or as a lyricist or as a performer or whatever. But at the same time, I'm like, I also know a lot of people that don't have what I have currently.